in the last videos, maybe the last 5, 6, 7, I'm talking about real life situations that come to me. I counsel devotees every day. 1, 2, 3, 4 devotees every day. And so I'm quite aware of the common situations they're facing. And one very common situation, which a lot of devotees don't know how to deal with, is past conditioning, especially traumatic conditioning from childhood. And from my experience, it can have, for many, a hugely detrimental effect on their Krishna consciousness. And I just want to talk about it because some people think it's just, well, don't worry about it and just, improve your chanting and sadhana and so forth, and you won't have to worry about it. In some cases, maybe, but in many cases, not. Often the question is, well, I had bad childhood experiences, or my father died when I was 2, or my mother was an alcoholic, or I felt extremely rejected by them. They never gave me any time and attention. It's like they didn't want me, and I grew up with this belief that I'm useless, or not that, if not useless, just not that useful or valuable. And so this is reality. It's Kali Yuga. These things are happening all the time. One devotee wrote me that he said, my parents were divorced when I was young, and I thought, it's my fault that they divorced. If I were better, they wouldn't have divorced. And so now he has grown up thinking like this, and that becomes deeply rooted. It becomes a samskar, it's like, it's my fault, I'm bad, or however you take it, right? So does that affect your Krishna consciousness? For many, many people, yes, I would say for most people. And sometimes we don't think it does until we start thinking about it and start seeing the connections, and we realize it does. It does affect a lot. It's affecting my relationships. Or when we get married, we realize, oh, I've got all this past, what do we call it? Baggage, yeah, from my upbringing. And I didn't realize how much it would affect me or is affecting me until I'm now in relationship with another person, and I have to be the best version of myself. I can't be conditioned by all this stuff because it can be hurtful. And so, there's always this idea that, well, now that I'm a devotee, this really won't be affecting me because Krishna consciousness is pure and it's transcendental. And if that's true for you, then it's true for you. It's fine if it's actually not affecting you. But I think for many of you, it is affecting you, and you may not even know it. And so the purpose of two purposes of this video is, for some of you, if you're questioning, should I do anything about it? Is it affecting me? If you're that far questioning, the answer I would say is yes, because you realize you are being affected. And if you haven't gone there and you're just wondering, why do I do certain things that I don't want to do? Or why am I having a hard time in relationships, or disciplining myself? Or why do I have addictive tendencies? Or why do I have low self-esteem? Go back. There's probably reasons there. Now, if you work through those reasons and heal them, which means changing the beliefs that they caused, neutralizing the trauma and the consequences of that trauma and how it affects you now, yeah, it's going to change. Things are going to be different. And again, will Krishna consciousness do that? Maybe for some, but not entirely. It depends on who you are and how deep it is. So is it necessary to heal those things? One way or another it is, because the past will always influence the future until it's healed. And so then, rather than acting consciously and making choices and decisions based on how you want to act and be and relate and what you want to achieve, often it's all being controlled by the past. And the past is saying, you can't do this, or you're not worthy of this, or whatever it's saying, which is a consequence of upbringing. So I just wanted to put this video out because a lot of devotees face this, and they don't want anybody to think that, no, this is bogus if I go to try to go through some healing, through some process, whether it's therapy or a counselor or a mentor, an expert in the field of mental health, whatever it is. Nobody should feel that that would be wrong, because if it helps my Krishna consciousness, then how could that be bad? And say, well, just do bhakti, it'll help. Okay, if you do bhakti and it helps, you don't need this other. But a lot of times we do. And I know for some of you in some countries, there's a stigma, because if you go and try to get help with this, then it's like, means I'm crazy and everybody's going to think I'm crazy. No, I would say you're more crazy not to get help. I would say you're crazy. You're crazy if you have these problems and they're affecting you physically, emotionally, spiritually, then you're crazy not to get help. And a lot of these problems which affect us emotionally consequently affect us physically. And a lot of the health issues we're having are, as Prabhupada said, they're due to anxiety. So if deep down I'm feeling lots of shame, guilt, remorse, resentment, unworthy, etc., 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 it's a constant feeling, and that stress is actually working on your body. Your immune system weakens, and so many problems come from that. So I don't think this is a little thing to think about. Now, you say, well, you know, when we grew up in ISKCON and Prabhupada didn't talk about these things and like that. There's a lot of things I didn't talk about, and the situation was also different. And now I see in the world today, the family unit has been degrading, and as a result, it causes lots of problems for people growing up in bad families. There's a whole world of trauma that comes from being raised by parents who are addicts, who are alcoholics. And there are 12-step programs for the children of alcoholic parents. I didn't know that. I learned about that a few years ago. And I said, yeah, they can be very, very damaged being raised in that environment. Makes sense. They may not even known it. And then they realize, oh, these behaviors that I have, which I don't like, which seem to be controlling me, are a result of that. So this video is just there for anyone who might be questioning, do they need to do something more? Do they have a past that is unhealed, that is affecting them in the present? And should they do something? And yes, something should be done. And many, many of us have this. This is just what it's like now growing up in Kali Yuga. And it does affect our spiritual lives if it remains unresolved.